You could just excellent.
All right.
Oh, I see the lip already. All right.
Yes, I love it. I love that color.
Yes.
Hi,
Excellent.
ladies.
Thank you.
I don't see Brandy. Is she at the top? It's dark.
Yes, I am. I'm at the top. Is it too dark?
I don't see anything.
Oh no. I see everyone.
Right, I see everyone too.
Okay. It might be mine. It's fine. But hi, everyone.
Hi.
And I will start with introductions. Thank you everyone for joining us for another exciting episode of Sister Soul Sessions. We are here tonight, season 3, episode 7. And I'm your host, Brittany, joined by my lovely co-host, Brandy, tonight. And we're in for a wonderful treat. We are joined by Miss Christy Mack tonight of Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty, CEO, founder, and creator, and really excited to meet you tonight. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and let us know a little bit about your business.
Sure. Thank you, Brittany and Brandy. I appreciate the invite. As previously stated, my name is Christy Mack. I am the CEO and founder of Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty, and we are a cosmetic accessory brand transforming the way that you carry your lipsticks. We have a lipstick case that carries up to 3 lipsticks, and we also have a luxurious hydrating lip scrub as well. And so we are eager to continue to grow and scale up, and we are happy to be here.
Yes. Thank you so very much. Wonderful introduction. Yeah, I want to get right into this wonderful carrier that you created for your lipsticks and just kind of, the full functionality of it and how you came up with that, actually. What made you design, a new carrying case and, even think of how we're carrying our makeup right now?
So there are different variations that's out there in the market, but I actually had a vision for mine. So if someone were to say, well, what made you come up with this? I was like, honestly, I was just walking somewhere and I had a vision, and I also had a glimpse of it in a dream as well. So I used to do art back in high school a long time ago, where I would sketch out certain things, and art is like a form of emotion as well. So I got a sketchbook and I just started sketching it out. And at the time, this is about 3 years ago, I actually used to make these lipstick cases by hand. So I would go to a leather studio. I would wait for the leather to come from Italy and the suede to come from Italy. And I would basically stitch these lipstick cases together with the dimensions that I created. And I just say, you know what, I hope this is something that can really grow into the market, but leather is expensive, which put my selling mark at a very high point. But some people like them as gift, right? But as I was growing, I really couldn't keep up with the quantity. So that's why I put it into manufacture. And then I kind of made the mold of the snap on my lipstick case a cute little lip, just to kind of make it be different, stand out boldly, and just kind of give it its own little twist. And yeah, the moral of the story is that all the other lipstick cases I saw, they were ugly. So let me create something, cute and chic, and, something that I know I would carry. I would like to see it in different colors in the future, but right now I really like what I have.
And I love that you say that, because a lot of times as business owners or someone who, wants to be, to go on their own path, you always think you have to reinvent a wheel or something. But you were just like, no, I just didn't like, what was already out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make, I would like, same with like music, like you said, it's a form of art. So it's something that you want to see out there. And that makes you have an emotional reaction to it that you thought should be out there for everyone. How do you get the motivation and really the passion to make that dream come to reality? Because, obviously you can say it, but that's not, wasn't your background originally. So like, what pushes you to create?
Yeah, I know that's kind of funny. I know people are just like, if they see my resume, like, how does she switch, over here is a whole nother world. But honestly, I was in a situation in 2016, which I'm still working on how to tell my story. So hopefully one day I'll be able to tell my story boldly and fearlessly. But in 2016, I lost a younger aunt. Well, I shouldn't say younger. She was younger than my mom. She was the youngest girl of of 7 kids altogether, 4 girls and 3 boys, and she was the youngest girl. She passed away in 2016 and left behind 3 beautiful children. And at that point, I would while she was on life support, I would pray to God that He would take me to leave her here with her children. But He didn't do that. So then I had to kind of pivot in my mindset and say, well, what is my purpose? What am I here for? And so that comes to your question when you said, where's the passion? The passion came when, Caitlin, Dylan, and Braden, that's their name. I couldn't figure out what it would be like to live without a mom at the age of 14, 8, and 7. So that passion kicked in me to where I'm just like, if you don't have parents to plan your future, then what are you thinking as a young child? So I just wanted to make sure that, they had some set of direction, not only guidance, but, some type of financial layout as well. And so that's where I kind of said, I'm going to try to make this a side hustle and just really try to pursue it as a small business and see how far it goes. If they want to carry it on, if I'm 6 feet under, that's totally up to them. But if it does succeed, I do want to make sure that not only am I telling my story in this way, but I'm also teaching them along the way how to look at business and be entrepreneur and things like that. So that's where the passion comes from.
And thank you so much for sharing. That is beautiful. I'm sorry that you guys had to go through that, because it's, it's amazing that they had someone to carry the mantle after that. A lot of times, especially in family, it's just, that's the tragedy of the family, and you hear about it.
Yeah.
But for someone to, pick up that mantle, make sure that you are continuing a legacy that maybe she didn't even think, that far, into it. She just thought she would be here. But you saw, to fill that gap and really create something for, for them. And that is the most amazing passion that you could have. I really applaud you. And I'm just so happy to hear that, my parents didn't pass, but as a foster kid, and knowing what it was like to be out there and be lost, not having, that someone just to, like I said, carry that mantle, to come in and say, I can't imagine what this would be like. Let me show you a path to legacy still, to where that name is still very present. So the fact that you carry that on and even created the business name, based off of them, that is, something that is extremely beautiful to me. So thank you so much for sharing that, seriously, because just the stories behind, why someone creates something that you think is just, oh, that's cute. I love that, but to know what love and, what blood, sweat, and tears really go behind a product, that's why we were able to see it and find you as well. So thank you so much for doing that and continuing to follow, what God told you to do for these children. That is amazing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story too. Also, it's funny how everything aligns, because hearing you say you're a foster care, I have a 9 to 5 still, even though I'm a full-time entrepreneur, because I obviously I work today. So the podcast worked out great today because I had to put on my gear. But I also, at my 9 to 5, I also volunteer with foster kids who, age out the system and they go to college, but they don't have a family to support them. So there's a program called Mafia that I am volunteering to support those kids who are, going off to college and whatever they need. That's kind of like what we do to provide for them. So I'm definitely being used as a vessel here on the earth. And however, as long as I'm alive, I just ask God to use me wherever that is. And I think my main thing is to spread love. So that's like one of my things, I think. I'm still learning.
And thank you for being obedient. That's why we're able to share this story and allow God's light to shine like that, and see, the work that you're actually doing. Like I said, it's bigger than what we even imagined. Like I said, we saw the product and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. She's so beautiful. And I love, what she says on everything. But to know that we were actually seeing that light, and what we know, you never know what it is. But thank you for just being obedient and to continue with that path. And like I said, just creating a legacy. There's so many young girls under you, especially with your organization Mafia. And I want to put that in there in the chat as well. that get to see you as a woman who, has a 9 to 5, still managing her family, still managing a business, and actually getting to see that this can all be done. And, you're creating that loving group. Like I always like to say, it's like a happy tree house of love where they're seeing that and continue to see a business grow. So honestly, thank you for being obedient to that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. And sorry, that took a turn I was not expecting. That that's where.
Yeah, we'll be here all night with that.
This is Soul Sessions, everybody. It goes so. But can you share? I know you were saying, with the leather and things like that, it was expensive. Can you share that creative process and what that was like, actually going from making this by hand and like kind of, that being your baby, to giving it over to manufacturers, and what the process was like?
Yes, so it definitely took time. Honestly, with crafting that leather, once I received it and go to the leather studio, it would take me about 5 hours just to do about 3 or 4 just leather cases. Because when you talk about, a whole hide, you roll out the whole hide, you try to cut as many as you can out of that hide just to go ahead and cut those pieces. And then you cut the suede out, same thing, you're cutting as many as you can. That could take about an hour or so because you're trying to make sure that your cuts are precise. You're on a ruler board and you're just measuring on all angles, and you're using all kind of tools with leather in order to make sure that you have that perfection. And then you are, I'm literally gluing the suede and the leather together to have that uniqueness, whether it's leather on the outside, and when you open up your lipstick case, you're like, oh, it's suede on the inside. And I still have people to this day are just like, this lipstick case is all I ever get compliments about. Nobody cares about my purse. Once I pull this out, they're like, I love how the suede is on the inside. It's easy to clean, all those things. And so I got to the point, just at the time, I was still a system engineer, and, I'm still working with people that are over in Mexico, resources that are in India, and I was on call. So it's hard to go into a studio and spend, 5, 6, 7 hours to try to do your side hustle. And then you're trying to, over here on your computer and everything. So it was a hard decision to say, I got to give my logo to someone. I have to give my dimensions over to someone. I have to give, my color idea, because I like the color coding of having two-tone colors versus one. And it took me maybe about 6 months because I already started thinking about it. It took me maybe about 5 or 6 months where I said, okay, let me just start doing my research to see who I can trust and try to see how I can hand this over. And I did find a manufacturer, had to do non-disclosure, non-disclaimer, all of those things just to try to protect my baby and being in an international market. But it definitely took time. It was definitely hard to hand over. But once you hand it over as an entrepreneur that's doing everything, once you hand one piece over and you feel like you can trust, that process over there, then you come up with so much more space to be more creative over here with whatever it may be, whether it's being more innovative or creating a new product or, advancing a current product. So I do like having that aspect as well.
Yeah, that's so important. B and I were actually talking about this, automation instead of doing everything on our own. We actually had this conversation today. But, I like to, what you're saying, once you hand that over, you are freed up for things that you didn't even know you were missing, honestly. But, that trust piece and, especially what we see online every day, you see an idea and then someone made 50 of them on, international market, or, just someone else just completely stole your pictures, things like that. So, is that something that you have to deal with since you, kind of opened up your brand a little more? And how do you manage that?
Yes. So the good thing is that my logo and my name is registered. So if I had to, I can go into a legal direction. But as far as like the lipstick case, I was contemplating on if I should get a patent or not. Because I haven't seen where there's like lips that's a snap on any, lipstick case or anything like that. Besides, you see the big printed lips that are like on bags and things like that, but not like the hard
Yes.
mold that's like on my lipstick. So, I haven't seen a replica of that, but if I did, then that means that I have to take it up a notch, right? And kind of think outside the box because you can have your stuff patent when it comes to products in, Walmart or Target or things like that. But if somebody just adjusts the size of the product, then, you paid 10,000 so dollars and, for what? So it's just like one of those things where you have to stay innovative and creative to stay relevant,
No.
stay engaging.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen. I hope I won't see. I haven't seen anybody completely copy my lipstick case. I have seen where a sorority, I won't name which one it is, but a sorority did take my idea and color code a smaller lipstick case, but didn't have the mold and everything on the snap like I have.
Oh, great. Yeah, so even things like that where you're like, oh, you can't, like, I'm mad and I have to take it, so yeah, I can't, and especially when you create something like that, for us, it's just, obviously just how we saw with the demure guy or young lady that someone just went and traded, things like that. So it's like, you do have to be honest, especially when you're on these platforms and creating things all the time. Oh yeah, a sorority, I would have felt away, and yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, I said, oh no. And it's funny because my mentor, she sent me a screenshot and she said, did you see this? And then she said, when did you start your company? And I was like, 2018. She's like, oh, this was out in 2019. I say, yeah, she copied me. But it's like one of those things where, it's like taking a different color jersey, putting different things on it. I just look at it for so many perspectives. And yeah, I was a little upset, but at the same time, it just means, okay, what's the next thing that you need to work on to make sure you're standing out versus blending in?
Yeah. How do they differentiate your product and always knowing that this is your product and things like that? Do you find that difficult with creating content because you do have to stay so relevant and make sure that your brand is out there with your product instead? Do you
Yes.
feel
I struggle with creating content because when you have your hands in so many pots, something lacks, right? And unfortunately for me, it's being consistent with marketing, like on Instagram or social media together. Like I have a TikTok, I have Facebook, and I have Instagram, and I struggle with keeping that consistency because I'm over here, ordering more labels or more envelopes for packaging or doing a new order for inventory with the lip scrubs. And most recently, we just got in the painted tree. So we're here in Fort Worth, Texas, but we just got in the painted tree in Mansfield, Texas. And so I'm super excited, but I'm working on the shelves for that,
all
right?
right?
So
Yeah.
it's just like, if I remember to pull out my camera and record for content, then I'm on it. But if I don't, like if it's like strictly business and I forget and I'm in that zone and I'm like, oh crap, I could have had, 10 different days of content, but I missed it. But yeah, it's a struggle, but every business, every small business has some type of struggle that they're, trying to battle. And so I have my list of flaws, but all I can do is hope to get better.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we were discussing
again today.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, like you said, there's just one part of it or a couple maybe that are just not at the 100% mark because you do have to be so hands-on on the other side of it. So, making sure that you're creating something that has a fan base that's long-lasting and kind of grows with you, I guess, is the great thing about social media. But, could be the scary part as well. And with,
Yeah.
did you want to ask the questions or what did he say? Oh, why didn't they reach out and ask you to do it in their colors? Right.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question because
You tell me. I know. You know, the good thing is that they can use all the colors they want, right? But if I come out with something and I sketch out something, new and different and innovative, then again, it's mine. So I'm not really pressed about the colors. But I will say I am pressed on my logo. I think that's where I would really take a charge on being more aggressive if someone were to copy my logo. And we had a slogan that was called Own Your Beauty because just, as a young, dark skinned kid growing up, it was a group of us girls. We used to get teased. So I look at my logo or my brand, I should say, I look at Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty as a beauty statement. And so our slogan used to be Own Your Beauty, whatever that is. Everybody has a different variation of what beauty looks like to them. Just own that. And I recently just found out that there is a whole brand that's out there, and their brand name is Own Your Beauty. So then I had to kind of step back and say, whoa, let me step back because I'm getting ready to do a large inventory of lip scrubs that are coming in. And at the bottom, I wanted to make sure we did a word of affirmation for this new batch that's coming out, right? So stay tuned for that. But at the bottom, I just put love your beauty. So like I stated earlier in my interview, earlier in the interview, love is something that I think giving love is something that I feel is my purpose. And so I try to lead with positivity. I try to lead with love. And so that's something that I'm putting on the bottom of my product too.
yes,
I think that's important.
yeah, it really is, and especially with how that came about and making sure that you are affirming that to whoever is using it as well. Feel beautiful in the skin that you're in with whatever.
Mhm.
They see that every time you look at that tube, look at that scrub. I absolutely love that. My our other host who's not here with us tonight, she actually started a lip gloss company a few years ago, and kind of on the same
Oh,
basis.
really?
She grew up being bullied. Um, uh, we're blood sisters, but like I said, I grew up in foster care, so she grew up somewhere else, and she was the only darker skinned person in the whole entire family that she was in. And going through that and not knowing your own beauty until she got older and discovered that on her own. Had to create those
Mhm.
own affirmations for yourself because a lot of times other people aren't telling you aren't the standard. So loving that you're making sure to be inclusive and showcasing everyone is beautiful. There is a different standard for everybody. So I'm really happy to hear that because I see that that's something that is a healing product as well for you, and
Yeah.
will be for you too. Yeah, that's that beautiful road to go. And with all of that, because like we were listing, you have a lot of roles. I just want to say CEO, of course, COO, CIO, marketing director, IT support, and inventory manager. I don't
Yeah.
know where you want to start, ma'am, because let me a party right now. But how did you get here? Because
I don't honestly, I don't even know. I even tell myself, where do I get the time? Like I literally when I lay down at night, I'm just like, where did I find the time to do that today? But I did it. And one thing that I have just looking at other people's story, reading books, watching other podcasts, looking at other videos, YouTubes, I hear a lot of people say, hey, I had to pick this up off the ground by myself. And so you have to stay motivated and tell yourself, if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? And at first I used to be like, try to delegate to family and everything, but they didn't do it like I wanted it to be done. What is this? But everybody's willing to help. The thing is that everybody's willing to help. But when you have that vision and you hand it off and they can't do the vision like what you see, you have to take it in your own hands. I don't want to. But once I have that vision and I'm tunnel vision on what that vision is to see the outcome, it's just like, okay, I have to do it. So yes, I'm the CEO. I had to do my own business plan. I had to go attend Prosperity Bank, their master course to kind of learn everything from marketing, finance, accounting. After that, I went to Cornell University to get their female entrepreneurship certification. It's just like,
Wondering about
I'm
that.
in this.
I love.
I'm in this to learn and gain and win. And so, yeah, I just played a lot of pieces. But if you ever played a board game, you know, checkers, chess, the game of life. I can't think of Candyland. There's so many when you know, you become so many different pieces of the board game and you're always looking to see how to strategize. And so as one person, I just see myself as a board game and I'm just constantly all over it, just strategizing what I have to do and tackle for the day.
Ooh, yes, that's beautiful. And I don't know if you guys heard what she did because she dropped a lot of gems in there. Because I actually was looking at the Cornell program, the virtual program that they've sent me on that course. So thank you. I feel like, yeah, this was for me because I was learning how to scale and, you know, where I need to learn the next thing. You know, you, like you said, there's so many things telling you what you can do and there's so many gurus. But, you know, I'm an avid learner and I kind of learn better in a classroom setting. And I was wondering if that was something that would be beneficial. And with this resume, ma'am, you have sold me. So I am definitely going to look into that further because, yeah, I feel like that was the key part of learning the balance of being the CEO of your company, learning to actually navigate all of these things that you're unaware of. You know, like you said, was it Prosperity Bank that you took the course to understand, you know, the financial side of it? Those are things that if you don't have mentorship or understand that you could find something like that, you know what I mean? Like, who do you go to? That's kind of why we have this podcast. Even, you know, now this is what, season 3, episode 7. I've picked up 2 new things just today. So thank you for sharing your idea for sure, because I honestly, that email came to me again today. So I truly
Wow.
mentioning that. Yeah, that is, I like I said, I think this is just for me today. Sorry, whoever else is joined the podcast. I normally don't get to, you know, fangirl, but sorry guys.
Brittany's taking over, guys.
Because it was like, wait, you said another thing that I really had a question on. You're saying exactly what we're talking about today. And that's what the blessing of this is when you're obedient, because it will be revealed to you the answers that you need, especially for this thing of business. Because as entrepreneurs, a lot of us are lost out here. Like I said, we're seeing everyone else's idea and how they put that together, but that may not be your path. So hopefully we're presenting people, you know, like Christy here, that are showing us different methods. And like I said, for me in particular, definitely something I got out of it. I'm also in IT, so I wanted to talk to you about your system engineer and transitioning to cloud engineering. And how do you integrate your technical expertise into owning a business? Do you feel like that's been a benefit?
Definitely a benefit when it comes to looking at the website and kind of knowing like that back end.
Yeah.
But honestly, Brittany, I don't want to touch anything technical because I work on everything technical throughout the day. It's just like, hey, I know I need A, B, and C. Can you do it within, you know, this timeline? And I appreciate it if you can get it done right. I'm very appreciative and I'm very thankful. But I think just being in IT for so long and hands-on, and I'll get to the skill set just real quick, but just being within it and so long, it's just like I really couldn't push my brand really out there and really dive in and just say, this is me, this is what I do, and this is the brand that I'm really trying to get, you know, on the shelves of Sephora or whatever one day. And so I just kind of I got laid off from my job last May. Yeah, so last May I got laid off and I was like, you know, what am I, Lord, what am I to do? Like, that was my life. That was how I provided for my family, you know, blah, blah, blah. And long story short, I was just like, rest. And I was like, okay, cool. But resting made me reflect on, you know, being a system and software engineer. I used to integrate radiology and surgery applications into legacy EHR systems. So if you ever heard of Epic or Cerner or McKesson, I used to integrate applications like Care Connect, and there was like a genetic surgery application that I used to integrate. And so when you are working in a healthcare setting as an IT professional. Literally, I worked for a large corporation in New York, and it was start at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and sometimes it was in at 6 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And so you're around the clock. And I love what I did. I love being able to say, hey, we test that product to make sure the left leg was the left leg and the right leg was the right leg when you go into surgery for you or your loved ones. And I was very prideful of being part of that.
Yeah.
However, you get drained. I did that for 6 years. And so I knew the future was cloud. Just to go back to your original question, how did I switch from system engineering? I knew that the future was cloud. Google had already had cloud out for a while, right? Because they had the
Yeah.
Google Drive. So cloud had already been out. So I was like, oh, if healthcare is going to cloud, then I really need to see, what we're doing over here. So had a sponsor who said they'll pay for my AWS certification to be a cloud practitioner. And so I took it. I was like, I really like this because the cloud is very simple. All it is going on there, you're clicking a few things, and a stack is up and running. An application has been launched to a virtual machine. It's things like that. We're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is different. And I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like IT, old school IT is like you have switchboards and you hard drives, and you have everything is hard equipment like laptops and big desktops and things like that. So having going from that to something that's a click of a switch, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. So I switched over to cloud engineering, working with all three major platforms and some VMware, but Microsoft, GCP, Amazon, and then some VMware. But I'm happy that I got let go
Yeah.
because I used to work for Deloitte for 10 years, almost 10 years. And it was just sun up, sun down. And it was just like, oh, I want to climb the ladder. I want to climb the ladder. I was going up for senior manager. And then, something just clicked to where it's just like, okay, you got laid off. Let's just focus on Kiss.Beauty. Let's get our love for art back. Let's get our love for creativity back. Let's pour our emotions that we've been holding in for however many years. Let's pour it into our brand, and let's really try to push it out. So, that's what I've been doing. And I mean, I'm thankful that I have a new 9 to 5. It's different. It's unique working for Cisco Systems now. I've been a consultant for years, so I don't know how to operate outside of problem solving, but it's totally different and cool. So I will say having the best of both worlds has definitely been a game changer, but still very passionate about being an entrepreneur. And I come from an entrepreneur family. My grandparents had a small boutique here in Fort Worth, and they would sell like shoes, t-shirts, suits, all kind of things. And so
Knew you were gonna
that's
get.
another yeah, that was another fire, right? Of passion, because like, your grandparents left a legacy, and so you try to carry that torch
For
too.
sure, yeah. And yeah, to find something that you made your own as well, because it could have just been, this so good. So I'm used to that, something, but you went to create something. And that's where I think that tech background kind of comes. You're a tinkerer all of a sudden, and you get to meld,
Problem solved.
yeah, you get to meld your two passions now together. So I love that. And that's why when you were speaking about your, the clamp so much and why it's so important, I'm like, yeah, like that was your, actual like endpoint always. And you could see that. So yeah, it's funny. I always turn our conversations with B into like, okay, well, give me the roadmap and this and that. She's like, no, don't say those words to me. Let's just.
Project management words right there. Yeah. You sound like a project manager.
But it did help, me stay a little more organized in this way because,
Mhm.
you do problem solve and like, okay, we know that we have these 5 things. How do I get from this block to
Yeah.
this? So I do think that it helps us as entrepreneurs and kind of stay in that. But I want to kind of go over to what you're saying with your grandparents and KDB. I know that started as a tribute, to the family. How do your, especially with your grandparents, how do those family values or personal values influence the brand and the mission going forward with that legacy?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, Honestly, I would just say kind of keep it traditional and simplicity. My grandparents, they just stayed in a box, and I want to grow one day. I want to be, nationally known one day, but I want it to kind of come to me. I don't want to be like a rabbit and kind of chasing down and getting burnt out or tired. So my grandparents just stayed local in the community. They did all kind of things for the community, which is why I was sharing with you earlier about volunteering for the college mafia with the foster kids. It's always been instilled to take care of the community on top of doing whatever you need to do for your family. So I would just say just keeping it traditional, and what that looks like to everybody is different. But just for myself, it's just kind of staying clear to your key values. I had a grandfather who we couldn't eat until he sat down and prayed over the food. So that's my tradition. On Fridays, we were like the Black Hustables, and we played game night on Fridays. We weren't out in the streets or anything. Like my grandma was like, let's do a puzzle, or let's, do something. Friday night was, watching Family Matters, and thank God on Friday, the whole TV thing. So I would say, when it comes to me and my business, that's how I perceive um, going forward with my business, as far as keeping it traditional and simple. Just kind of staying with, like you said, staying with the roadmap. Don't try to think too much outside the box unless you're trying to be creative to put something together. But just kind of keeping steady with the next step to the next step to the next step, and not trying to skip over to the next, 10 steps.
Yeah, and something you said makes me think of like we were saying, it's not to be a rabbit and jump around, especially when you're seeing all of these things on social media and you kind of want to stay relevant or get to the hottest new thing. And we forget those traditional things, and like in particular, being an expert in one thing, right? We get so fascinated on, oh, you have to have this and you have to be an expert here, you have to know how to do this. But it's like, no, if you stay and focus on this one path, and even if no one's doing it for 5 years, even if no one's, looking at it in this way, you're going to be the expert, and only you know how to create this. Only, your brand is known for this now. So it is, very testimonial about, making sure you stay in those same traditional, aspects that your grandparents did, and knowing your role and your path, and not getting distracted with everything else. Social media, like I said, is just such a crazy place, especially for someone that's creating products, because with
Yeah.
international market in particular, you're seeing something pop up every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? There's always some new thing. There'll be a new makeup bag now that has LED lights and speaks to you when you open it up. And not getting caught up in that, and realizing that, like, have a true and tried brand, and we come with this, and it's legacy built, and not just all the bells and whistles of some 5-minute craft or Timu product that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's hard to piggyback what you just said. It's hard because I've been doing it for 6 years, and I feel like this is the most publicity that my brand has ever gotten.
And it had to be.
Right? I know people that a year their business took off, 3 years their business took off, and I'm just like, congratulations. And I just I'm just in a peace of mind where it's just like, I'll just wait my turn, whatever that looks like, I'll just patiently wait my turn. Because you have to think about it, when you have other stuff going on here, kids or family, aging parents, and all that stuff, you kind of have to prioritize what is the most that you want to make sure that you are taking. What are you taking care of the most? Is it going to be your business, or is it going to be your aging parents? That's kind of like how I look at life. And my thing is that my parents are aging, and so I don't know how much borrowed time they have left. And so I may have to do X, Y, and Z here with the business, but all day today is Parents' Day. So it may put me behind, right? Because there might be another business owner that's like giving it 1,000 every single day. But when it comes to me prioritizing things that are important to me on whatever that day is, that's kind of how I look at what I'm going to do to make sure that I am, living in my truth and staying traditional.
Yes. Now, that's so important, to prioritize things that are most important to you. And sometimes, especially with business owners, we have to realize sometimes that isn't your business. And that's difficult. That's difficult, right? Because you have to remember those other things in your life actually made this possible. This gave you those creative things, and make sure that you're still spending that time. I know with my partner here, B, she's very much so a people pleaser, and she will be a part of every single thing.
Aw,
Yeah, so
we love you, Brandy, though.
I love you, ladies.
yeah, she's one of those people that, if she said yes, helping hand, she's going to give it. And it's really like that, like you said, that importance of it's okay. Some days throw it all out in the air, because you have to prioritize this, and realizing that that's okay. I think we get down on ourselves a lot of times too, because like you said, you'll see that person that started last week and you're like, wait a minute, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Remember, your wait a minute means that you had to wait in this area, or maybe you just didn't do that extra thing that they did, and that's not a part of your values. So not getting fixated also on what other people are doing around you and things like that. And like you said, staying very consistent in your path and being obedient in your path, because what's meant for you will happen for you for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. And what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly those looking to break into the beauty industry right now?
You know what? The beauty industry is, I think right now it's at a 527 million, I believe. Right now the number is up there, and it's very high. And the advice I would give somebody, true advice, that I look on my mirror every day when I am waking up, and it's just keep going. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have fast days, you're going to have slow days. You're going to have days where you have so much energy, and you're going to have days where you have absolutely -1 energy.
Yes.
But if you really want it bad, just keep going. And that would be the advice. Keep going, and network. I'm finding out that the more you put yourself out there, even if you're scared, doubtful, because me last year, once I lost my job, and I was just like, I really have to be in the face of people. I have to be the face of my brand. This is scary. This is a lot for me. It takes out a lot for me. For someone who's an engineer who's behind the scenes, we don't talk often, right? We just type in, we're minding our own business. We don't do too much talking and getting out and meeting people and all that stuff. So it took a lot. But being able to network, to have people trust you and see who you are and what you really want to accomplish is also vital to know as well.
Yes. How did you get that confidence to just step from behind the computer and make sure that, you're a brand, you're selling lipstick? That is the most forward facing, opposite thing that you were doing. Where did that confidence come from to, launch that and just say, I'm going to, start taking my pictures. I'm going to, have my face everywhere.
It was surrounding it was praying to God for confidence and strength. Because you can have confidence, but then you lose strength. So it's just like, I want to make sure I have a blend of both. So it was praying to God to ask him for that. And then it was also surrounding myself around confident women. What are they doing to stay confident? Because we have our ups and downs as women, right? So it was surrounding myself around like-minded people. And then it was also praying and asking God for that, and showing me how he sees me, so I can know how to go out there and be that person that he needs me to be.
God, show me how you see me. Yes. And because you will never show up in the room the way that you think that you are. So that is very important. I love that you said that. Kind of going off of that, our motto for this season is fulfilling the mission. That mission often requires, perseverance and purpose. What has kept you on your mission throughout this journey with KDB in particular? I know you lost, your position before. You have all of these things kind of stacked behind the brand on how important it is, and what this means to you. Like what, in particular keeps you fulfilling that mission?
That's a good point, because our mission is on our website, and so whenever I pull up my website, I do see my mission, right? And I do read it from time to time. And I would say keeping that mission is remembering who I'm doing it for. Why are you doing this? Who is it that you are doing this for? And when I have those flashbacks to, that day or that time, it makes me kind of kick up like, okay, we've healed, we've healed, but we also have a mission outside of the
Right.
mission. And so, where are you in the process outside of that mission to making sure that you are accomplishing what you need to do? And so that's what keeps me going. Knowing one, I woke up today, so that means God still have a purpose for me. And that means I have to continue the mission and drive it forward. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier, keep going, keep moving forward. Because if you go back or you set back or you be complacent, what good is that going to do to others that you're trying to drive forward or encourage or, make them see the value in your brand?
And in that hard work, and and believing in your brand as well.
Believing in yourself. Yeah.
Important that, like I said, you're getting to show, people under you what that means. Really the belief in a dream that came from nowhere. I think we miss how magical that is a lot of times. You have brought into fruition something that was a dream, like you said, a literal dream that you had a dream about. And you made that a reality, getting out your tools, not probably even knowing, like, I don't even know if this will turn out into the same square 3 times, but, trying that and actually manifesting and bringing that to fruition. That is the magic of what, entrepreneurs do in making sure that you believe that every day. You know what I'm saying? It's not even real, honestly, most times when you think about, what this means, until you now have a product and you are showcasing this every day. You get to speak about it every day, and this was a dream, and I hope that that's what we are passing on to our young people of, I know it sounds so cliche all the time, like dream big, you can do whatever you want, but you are an example. This was a literal dream you had in one night. And knowing you have some type of skill, but maybe not in this, created that and brought it to fruition and continuing to manifest that 6 years later. So, continued blessings. And I know that this brand is going to be, like I said, they have a wonderful CEO and creator behind it. So we're really happy that you are continuing to fulfill that mission. And I know KDB, you guys out there, I know you guys are very proud and oh, yay. I know you guys are very proud and knowing, that this is representation and love just for you. Like, that's the most beautiful thing to me. Children getting to see that someone just loved them enough and you created something out of thin air, and that's representation of that love. So I just want to keep harping on that, because that's the true beauty of, what you're doing, on top of the other amazing things that you have going on. Like I said, I think you are just amazing. Handle all of these things every day. Even know that real story of the KDB. I got to read the website and a little article that you had done, but to know that it's really that big is amazing to me.
Thank you so much.
Let me see. So this is a question that we ask all of our entrepreneurs, and I like to give them a little time because it's more in depth. But if you were to write a memoir about your journey up until this point, what would the title be and why?
What would the time be?
Title of your
title. What would the title be of my memoir? I have to be honest. The first thing that came to mind would be Grieving with Love. That would be the title of my memoir.
Yeah. Why would you with that?
Okay.
Say that one more time.
Why would you go there with your title? Why would it be named that?
Because there's a saying, beauty after ashes or something like that. The beauty of the ashes, and so there's so many stories on social media that talks about grief, and then once they got over that hurdle, so many big things happened to them, right, or for them. And so I would want my memoir to not go into the weeds of grief, but just understanding, once you get over that, the beauty behind everything that God has for you after that is what I would want to make sure is the bulk of it. And that's what I want to make sure that is really noticeable Yeah, not no more.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that
Thank you.
that beauty through the storm and what you're seeing after it. Honestly, that a lot of people don't see that when you're going through it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really important to highlight, that light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said, I know that's very cliche, but to know that
Mm-hmm.
you get to see beauty after something that is only darkness that surrounds you. It kind of engulfs you, grief, really. I always, being in therapy, I spoke of it as like a tar, right? And it just kind of stuck on you no matter what you did. You try to pull it off and that. So to, you naming your memoir that, and to showcase, that story of getting through that, not
Mm-hmm.
over, but through, and really seeing, that beauty of, what you get from that hardship that you went through. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. I always like to ask, kind of
That's
get,
a good question.
yeah. So when you write that book, I know you want to share that story. You already have that.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But especially our legacy builders, I like to ask that because you're not really thinking that far ahead yet. You're just in it. But
Yeah.
people who get to see and see the light that you're already shining, definitely want to highlight that and put that, in the front of your mind.
Thank you.
I hope to see that very soon. I know you have a million things going on, but we hope to get that story for sure, because that's one that I definitely would love to read.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Speak it in existence. She's speaking, Lord.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, when two or more are gathered, me and B say this every day, when two or more are gathered, so we definitely believe that. So definitely best wishes to that, and God's going to continue to bless your business. Thank you so much for being obedient. We have a few minutes left, so I always like to put in all of your contact information, making sure that we know how to order this wonderful makeup bag. I don't know if we didn't get to have you in office to show, but we will be posting obviously more of her content when we post the video that this is on YouTube, just so you guys can order. But yes, if we can get all contact information so that we can pin that into our chat, we'd love for everyone to be able to reach out and make a purchase as well.
Okay. You want me to just say it or?
Shout it out, and she types.
Okay. So again, Christy Mack, CEO of Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty. Our email is info@kdbpuckerup.com. Our contact for IG is kiss, lowercase KISS, period, Dazzling, period, beauty, BEUVEAUTY. Same thing for Facebook as well, and same for TikTok.
Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty. Thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much. We'll pin that into the chat. Of course, this video will go up on YouTube and all other platforms. We'll make sure that we are posting all of her content as well as her links when we post the video as well. We just want to thank you so very much for joining us tonight. I know it's a little hectic, so we're truly appreciative of you making it here tonight. Again, everyone, I am Brittany, host. We really appreciate you for joining us for another episode. And if everyone would like to say their goodbyes, we can end our live.
All right. Thank you for having me, ladies. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do, giving your flowers while you're still here. So we just appreciate you and all that you do for women that look like us.
For sure.
Thank you. And that is the name, Kiss.Dazzling.Beauty.
Yes.
For us.
Now be sure you follow her, please.
Yes.
Doing amazing things, please.
All of the information will be listed as soon as we post the video. We pretty much put it out the next day. It will be up at least by Saturday. So we will be posting all of that, as well as where she will be next and where you can find her. Thank you guys again for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed night.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good night. Bye-bye.